You guys are just plain rude. Hey, where are you going? Don't leave. Was it something I said? Greetings, fellow birders. I am in Floyd County, Iowa today, and I am on a quest to get my Floyd County list to 100 species. It currently sits at 81 birds, and I'm hopeful that I can get the other 19 today to get me to that century mark. I'm starting off the morning really strong. You may be able to hear some killdeer in the background, and you also may be able to see a large group of migratory geese behind me. We have greater white-fronted geese, Ross's geese, and snow geese in this group. All three species, which I needed for Floyd County. Starting off the morning really strong. Let's see what else we can find. I began at a private wetland just barely in Floyd County. Since I did not have permission to walk on the property, I simply birded from the road. The wetland itself only had a northern pintail pair and one male-hooded merganser amongst the mallards, but the geese flying around to feed in the corn stubble were the main attraction. I watched this group of migrant geese forage for nearly an hour. The lighting wasn't ideal, but I was still treated to excellent looks, with these birds being only about 60 meters away. The total number of geese in this group eclipsed 500, and it was very interesting to see greater white-fronted geese and snow geese interact with one another. Snow geese are slightly larger, so they were able to intimidate greater white-fronted geese and drive them away from the best feeding areas. The tiny Ross's geese were ignored by their larger cousins, with these birds maintaining small groups with other Ross's geese. Most of the confrontations that I witnessed were intraspecific confrontations, meaning they occurred within the same species. I saw greater white-fronted geese lashing out and biting their counterparts, but snow geese seemed to be the most aggressive. They regularly chased others away from the best foraging spots. Migrant geese such as these have evolved to be very shy, a trait that helps them avoid predators and hunters, but it also means that birders often can't get close to these large groups of waterfowl. The extended looks that I got this morning were terrific. I especially enjoyed seeing the hundreds of snow geese that were here. It's always fun to see how different individuals can look, from the pure white birds to the completely blue birds and everything in between. Snow geese are one of the few bird species that have such noticeable variation among individuals. After foraging for nearly an hour, many of the geese became sleepy, with hundreds shutting their eyes and getting some much-needed rest. However, rest doesn't come easy for migratory geese like this. At the end of my visit, a few individuals suddenly took flight, which made the entire group take to the sky. Most of the greater white-fronted geese disappeared to the west, while the snow geese settled onto the wetland. Although it was very cool to see this massive swarm of birds, I have no idea what caused them to so abruptly leave the field. Maybe it was just time for breakfast to be over. Next up was Rudd Lake, a park with a campground and water on the edge of a small town. There is nothing exceptional about this location, but since I needed just about any waterfowl species for my Floyd County list, I figured it may be a good stop. Alas, this mallard was the only duck on the lake, which was a bummer because standing water is scarce in Floyd County. No matter, this location proved to yield some decent birds anyway. Above all, Rudd Lake was a paradise for introduced species, as 7 of the 22 birds that I observed here were non-native. I think that's the most birds I've ever gotten on an Iowa checklist, and I saw about every introduced species that regularly occurs in the state, except gray partridge. Although house finches are native to the United States, they aren't native to Iowa, so they count as an introduced species for my checklist. I got some great looks of this Eurasian collared dove. Their haunting calls could be heard throughout my visit to this park, and there were at least a trio present here. They thrive in small Iowa towns. While all of these introduced species presented me with great looks, it wasn't until the end of my visit here that the crown jewel of introduced species would be discovered. Well, the pond was kind of disappointing with only a single mallard being seen, but I was able to salvage the visit with a county first Eurasian tree sparrow. Not the most exciting county first bird because they're an introduced species, but a county first bird is a county first bird no matter how you slice it. Always exciting to find one. I actually found 5 Eurasian tree sparrows at this location. It wasn't a shock to me to find this species, as I found them in my home county, which is just west of Floyd County, so it was only a matter of time before they showed up in Floyd County. Floyd County just happens to be pretty underbirded. There's not a ton of activity by birders there, so it doesn't get a lot of coverage. The Eurasian tree sparrows have probably been in the area for a while. There just hasn't been anyone to find them. Very cool find. Let's see the footage.
Eurasian tree sparrows were introduced into St. Louis, Missouri in 1870, and they've since spread throughout much of Iowa. Amazingly, all North American Eurasian tree sparrows are descended from just 12 individuals. Aside from all the introduced species here, there were plenty of native birds to be seen. I got an easy Floyd County lifer when I observed several American tree sparrows foraging around this park. Give it another week, and their numbers will noticeably decrease as they continue their migrations. While American tree sparrows are on the way out, American robins are just starting to return. They were all over Rudd Lake today, with many on the lookout for their next meal. I got to see one robin briefly take a dip in the lake before finding a perch and preening its feathers. He vigorously shook the water away from his body and was soon on his way. Red-winged blackbirds were also beginning to stake out their territories, with this male letting everyone else know that he's got dibs on this patch of cattails for the breeding season. At the end of my visit here, a male northern harrier cruised by the lake. This wasn't a new bird for Floyd County for me, but it's always nice to see this species anyway. With my time at Rudd Lake coming to an end, I departed for my final bird location of the day.
I'm here at the Floyd County Fossil and Prairie Park, and this is a really phenomenal location. I've been here twice before, and I've never come here for the purpose of birding. The other times I've been here, I was looking for fossils. This is an amazing place because you can find a nice variety of fossils, but when I say fossils, you probably think of dinosaurs, and that's not what I'm talking about. The fossils here, they're corals, gastropods, brachiopods, and there's billions of them, so people can come here and take as many fossils as they want. It's a really fascinating place.
I began my visit to the Floyd County Fossil Park with a rough-legged hawk soaring overhead. This may be the last one I see this season, as my latest rough-legged hawk sighting in Iowa is April 1st. The Floyd County Fossil Park has a nice diversity of habitats. I began by walking some trails in the prairie. I soon found another male red-winged blackbird that was calling from atop a birdhouse. No singing for this fellow though. However, another member of the blackbird family was happy to pick up the slack, as this eastern meadowlark repeatedly treated me to its sweet tune.
Behold the fossil pits in all their glory. Adventurers can descend into these pits and come away with as many fossils as their hearts desire. And while the fossils are nice, I'm here to go birding. I can already see in this pond behind me that there's 3 ring-necked ducks and some Canada geese. Neither of those are new birds for Floyd County for me, and I'm at 95 species for my Floyd County list. So close to that 100. Let's go see what birds we can find.
After birding the prairie area at the fossil beds, it was time for me to descend into the forest. It wasn't really much of a forest, more so just some knobs covered in cedar trees, but it was enough to nab me a few new Floyd County birds. A quick glance at a fox sparrow was all I needed to check it off my Floyd County list.
Well guys, I did it. I hit the century mark in Floyd County. I just got an eastern bluebird, and that put me at 100 birds in Floyd County. The other birds that I got here at the fossil park were white-breasted nuthatch, fox sparrow, rough-legged hawk, and a pair of wood ducks to get me to my goal of 100. So very happy to get the century mark, and going to keep birding and see what else I can find at this wonderful park.
I was happy to head back once I'd met my Floyd County goal for the day, but not before being treated to a fantastic array of migratory raptors. I didn't get as much bird footage at the fossil park compared to my other locations today, but it was the most productive spot for me as I finished with a nice 37 species on my checklist for this location.
Well, I ended my day with 104 bird species on my Floyd County list. That means I got 23 new species today. Not too shabby at all for a late March migration day. I love county listing for birds, and it's so satisfying to finally get a county list to that century mark. I'd love to know, are any of you guys county listers? Do you find it as enjoyable as I do? That's all for this video. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. I'll catch you guys next time. This is Connor from WorldwideBirder, signing off.